Hey there, welcome back to my channel. My name is Emily, or at mhughesart on Instagram and TikTok, and here on YouTube, and I am so happy that you're here. So today we have a very exciting video. These super lovely people at Ohuhu reached out to me and asked me if I would be interested in trying their alcohol markers. And I said yes. I've heard so many great things about these markers, so I was super excited to give these guys a try. So the markers I received are their Honolulu markers. They sent their 96 pastel color set and their 24 basic color set. And I thought these were just perfect for me because, as you know, I do a lot of portraits and the pastel colors are really suited for that. But I was also super excited to have the more bold basic color set, just in case I needed a little more punch. A thing to note about alcohol markers, and this is true for any brand, is that the color is often very different from the lid, so swatching is pretty necessary. The great thing is that Ohuhu includes these little swatch cards in every set. So please enjoy this little swatching montage before we get into doing some art. This process was honestly so fun and satisfying. So in every Ohuhu set, they also include a colorless blender, which from what I gather is just basically plain alcohol, and it can be used to help blend your colors together. I didn't end up using this too much, but I did swatch it over the sunflower yellow, and it does lift up the color, so that's pretty interesting. If you maybe went a little too heavy in an area of a piece, you could potentially use this to lighten it a little bit. When I looked at all of these swatch cards together, I was really pleased with the selection of colors. I was trying to see if I felt like there was a gap in the color range or something that these sets were missing, and I honestly couldn't come up with anything. I think the colors were really well thought out, and yeah, I was very happy to have all of these options at my disposal. So I've kind of tried to organize them a little bit by color. I mean, there's still like this one, pink. I think I want this to be over here. Just because this is such a large set, it's so easy to spend a lot of time searching for colors. I was so stoked when I saw that they sent this 24 basic set as well as the pastel set. Just so I have a few bolder color options to choose from as well. They also include in each set one of these guys to put under your sketchbook page so that it doesn't transfer to the next page, which is pretty sweet. So I've already done one sketch with these guys because I wanted to get a feel for them before I started filming. Did go through to the other side, but I used that slip so it didn't go through to the next page. I was blown away by how they went down on the sketchbook paper. Okay, time for sketch number one. I think I picked kind of a challenging reference for this one. Don't know why I went with one with hands in it. I usually don't have a problem with hands, but in this one I don't know, I really struggled. But I did have a very enjoyable time playing with these markers. I will have the references linked down below. They're from Pinterest. And of course, I will have the links to these markers down below as well. So I started by going in with this pale purple color just to get an idea of the shadow shapes. I then followed it with a yellow color. I thought these complementary colors looked really nice together. So Ohuhu sells alcohol markers with a variety of different tips. So these Honolulu ones have the brush tip on one side and the chisel tip on the other. But if you would prefer a fine tip over a chisel tip, they have those markers available as well. And I believe they also have a broader chisel tip. I was really happy that the ones they sent me had a chisel tip because I really enjoy that sort of blocky look. In my painted portraits, I use mostly flat brushes, so I just felt right at home using the chisel tips. I think with this first one, I tried to use the brush tip a little more than I normally would, just to give it a try and go for, a painterly look. But I kind of realized halfway through, a painterly look for me has that chisel tip, that block-in look. So I sort of switched to using the chisel tip a little bit more. And the second portrait, I used the chisel tip for most of it, and I really liked how that one turned out. So to give you guys an idea of how affordable these alcohol markers are, the 96 set of pastel markers go for $62.49 US, and if you break that down, that is 65 cents per marker. Other markers on the market go for anywhere between $4 and $7. There's something about building up colors with alcohol markers that is just so enjoyable. Just the way they layer and blend, and you can really achieve any color possible just by laying the markers over top of each other. And they don't eat up the paper or anything like that. At least I didn't find that with this Royal Talent sketchbook. It just went down really nicely, and I know that these are going to play a huge part in my sketchbooks from now on. And I'm really excited to explore pairing them with different mediums as well, like colored pencils or maybe watercolor. I understand why people are so in love with them. It just goes to show that you don't have to sacrifice quality for affordability. So with this first portrait, I kind of just focused on the face and left the hands and the hair very, undone, very loose. I added these sort of what I like to call rainbow confetti marks in the background because I kind of like the look of that, and I did something similar recently in a digital piece. I thought it would add a little bit of visual interest. Speaking of which, I have been having so much fun with digital art recently. I share a lot of it on my Instagram, and I was wondering if anybody would be interested in a digital art process video or how I paint portraits digitally, that sort of thing. But if you just want me to stick to traditional art videos, that is totally okay too. I can't see myself making a lot of digital videos, maybe just one to kind of explain my process, because I feel like I've really found my groove and the way I like to work digitally, and I am always looking to share what I've learned with you guys. So yeah, let me know down below if you have any interest in seeing something like that. So back to this first sketch, I finished it off with a little bit of kohl erase pencil, which is sort of like erasable colored pencil, and then I added a few highlights with a white gel pen. I think the first portrait sketch turned out okay. I wasn't super stoked with it, but I was super stoked with the markers. So I then decided to do a second, very little portrait sketch in the corner of the page, just another little head study, and I think I enjoyed this reference a lot more. I used the chisel tip a little more in this one, and I just really love the shapes that you can get with that. So I sketched it out super quick with some coal erase pencils. I've seen Chris Hong use these markers in her work, and she is so talented and amazing with them. She's amazing with any medium I've seen her use, honestly. But I've seen her start with a highlighter to sketch in and then use the markers on top, and I would love to try that. I was a little bit chicken and I wanted to stick with something a little more close to home, something a little more comfortable for me, which is the coal erase pencils. But yeah, I would love to try her little highlighter sketch technique because I think it looks really cool. I had so much fun with this one. There is just a teeny bit of a cool blue-gray reflecting off of this man's face, and then I went in with some purple mauvey shadows. But the portrait itself ends up being a very warm portrait, but I wanted to lay in the cool colors first, just so, because I knew I wanted that warm and cool play in this piece. So once again, just having a blast building up these colors and letting them layer and blend and just playing with these colors. I did swatch a few of them on the side of the page just to see how they would look together, and also because I wasn't sure if the colors would look slightly different on my paper versus the swatch card, and they did a little bit, so that is something to consider, that colors will be a little different depending on the paper. And I'm no scientist, but that probably has something to do with the amount the paper absorbs. So I would be super curious to know if any of you guys have tried Ohuhu markers, and what did you think of them? In the little amount that I've used them so far, I have been over the moon with the quality of these. I also think it's great that Ohuhu sells individual markers, so if I run out of a color that I love, I can go to their online store and order another one. I also feel that these are super beginner friendly, way more so than gouache or oils or watercolor. I feel like these are something that you can pick up and play around with and see pretty great results even if you are a beginner. So with alcohol markers, I don't feel like I am in a rush to get my darks down. Instead, I slowly work up to my darks, similarly to how I would with watercolors, though these are much more forgiving. With oils and also with gouache, I put my darks down pretty much first thing. I really loved this pastel set for portraits. I only occasionally dipped into the basic set to add the darkest parts of the sketch, but I honestly feel like I would have been happy even without that step. It's just a different look. So I was super blown away by the quality of these markers. I went in with really high expectations because of all of the rave reviews I've heard, and I was not disappointed. I thought the color range was gorgeous. I thought they went down beautifully on my sketchbook paper. They blended really, really nicely. Obviously my style is a little more painterly and not super smooth and blended, but if somebody wanted that super smooth look, they could definitely achieve it with these. So I finished off this sketch as well with a little bit of colored pencil, and then I used the white gel pen to bring his white eyebrows back in, but I kind of wish I didn't. I liked it a little bit more before, but that is okay. It's just a little sketch. So I think that is it for this video. If you are interested in trying these out yourself, I will have links down below. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day or night wherever you are. If you enjoyed the video, feel free to leave it a like. If you comment down below, I will be sure to reply. And yeah, if you want to see what I post next, you can subscribe. I will see you all very, very soon. Bye-bye.